We've got an update on a story we first brought you last month involving the car rental company Hertz and some shocking stories that you'll see only here. More people have come forward to claim they were accused, arrested, and even jailed after Hertz reported cars they had legitimately rented were stolen. Now, some of those customers are speaking exclusively with CBS Mornings. Consumer investigative correspondent Anna Warner continues her reporting on this very troubling story. Anna, good morning to you. Troubling is the word here.
Yeah, good morning, Gail. So a realtor, a cleaning service operator, even a NASA employee, they've all now filed claims against Hertz, saying a simple rental turned into their worst nightmare. And some of those incidents were caught on video.
It's a stolen vehicle.
That's Carrie Gibbs next to her Hertz pickup truck getting arrested at a California gas station in 2019 after Hertz told police she'd stolen the truck.
All of a sudden, 8 sheriffs came pulling up with their guns drawn.
Come have a seat on this bumper up here.
The truck had been rented for her from Hertz by an insurance company after an accident, but police took her to jail and she was charged with felony car theft. The case was later dismissed, but Gibbs said in court papers she lost her real estate license for a year.
I've been a real estate agent for 18 years, so this is the most frustrating thing ever.
Then there's this NASA employee driving a Hertz SUV. Florida police officers held him at gunpoint. Why? Because 2 days earlier, Hertz had filed a theft report claiming the vehicle NASA had rented for him was stolen. That NASA employee was not charged and was later released. And those are just 2 of many people who have filed claims.
Never in my life would I imagine that it would be in a situation like this.
Florida banker Manuel Garcia watched as his Hertz rental car was towed away while he was at a restaurant after Hertz reported it stolen, even though he says he'd been leasing the car for months.
And I was astonished, and I said, how can that be?
I'm still in shock. I just don't understand how this even happened.
Carmen Bosco told us she rented a car from a Florida Hertz location in January and returned it in April. But in August, officers in Georgia arrested her for car theft. She spent 40 days in jail, separated from her 3 children, including her 2-month-old baby.
I had to explain to my kids why I was gone for 40 days, and I missed time with my youngest that I'll never get back.
And Stephen Robinson says he never even rented a car from Hertz. But in June, police arrested him for car theft. He spent 2 days in jail and is now being prosecuted on felony charges.
I mean, this was the worst expense ever in my life, and I can't believe it. Hertz, and it was a good slogan I heard, but Hertz really hurts people. Their negligent practices is it's terrible.
I mean, I've already not been able to sleep at night over this.
Then there's Regina Mito, who says she rented a Hertz car for 3 days in May to attend a wedding in Houston with her husband, returning it on time. But last week, Hertz sent her this email saying they've now reported the car stolen, meaning she could face charges.
I have a husband, I have kids. It's terrible. Sorry. My doorbell rings and I'm fearful that it's the cops coming to get me.
Hertz would not comment for this story, but as previously said, the vast majority of cases involve renters who were many weeks or even months overdue returning vehicles and who stopped communicating with Hertz well beyond the scheduled due date. Not according to attorney Francis Alexander Malafy, who says since our first story aired, more people have been coming forward.
People think that they're an isolated incident, and they don't realize that this is a systemic issue that's happening across the nation.
Hertz disputes that, saying situations where vehicles are reported to the authorities are very rare. But this South Carolina attorney says
it's all over the 50 United States. These aren't isolated incidents.
Fritz Jekyll filed a similar case in 2019 and at the time asked Hertz whether there were any other lawsuits for false arrests and similar claims. He got back a database containing over 300 claims, going all the way back to 2008 up to 2016.
I was astounded by the number in just 8 years.
We can't see that database or show it here. Hertz has marked it confidential. In other words, secret.
But you're basically saying that there's a pattern of this problem, and yet the public wouldn't know about that.
Not until you're arrested.
Hertz did not answer our questions about that database. The company has previously said it cares deeply about its customers and successfully rents tens of millions of rental vehicles to customers each year. Nate.
Well, they are one of the largest car rental companies in the world. But tonight, KPRC2 Investigates has uncovered a troubling problem. Hertz customers detained by police, in some cases spending time in jail, accused of driving stolen cars.
And now dozens of customers across the country are now suing Hertz. Tonight, KPRC2 investigator Joel Eisenbaum talks with Houston Hertz customers who claim they've been taken for a ride.
Okay, name a rental car company.
Hertz. Hertz. Hertz.
That's the point. Hertz invented the idea of rental cars. Literally, this guy, their founder, started renting Model Ts back in 1918. Hertz is a juggernaut, but Hertz may have a problem.
To say that I'm disappointed in Hertz would be the understatement of a lifetime.
Crystal Carter and her fiancé, James Tolan, rented from Hertz often. In fact, so often.
I've been a President's Circle member with Hertz for about the past 6 years.
But their last rental was a nightmare. James was driving home from work late at night when he was pulled over in the 3rd Ward for driving a stolen vehicle.
2 of them had the guns trained on me, and another one was pulling up, and the moment he pulled up, his gun was already out.
Let me break it down. If they can't find their car on the lot, if they don't know where it's at, they report it as stolen.
Crystal's attorney is talking about Hertz's practice of filing stolen car reports despite having other evidence. In this case, the pickup truck Crystal rented from Hertz had been reported stolen 3 months before they ever rented it. According to their lawyer, Hertz not only never bothered to tell police they knew exactly where the truck was, they were renting it out again.
I'm begging and pleading to them to, look at the contract.
They weren't having it?
At first, they weren't having it.
James made it all the way to the police station in the back of a police cruiser before they let him go. And it only happened after officers finally managed to reach someone at Hertz.
The police officer tried to explain to them that, you put this guy through a lot of, anguish. It was pretty rough.
Hertz declined to comment on James Tolan's case, but in a statement, Hertz says the vast majority of these cases involve renters who are many weeks or even months overdue, and that situations where vehicles are reported to the authorities are very rare.
165 claimants, and we know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's many more.
In fact, there are more incidents involving Houston residents. KPRC2 Investigates has identified 7 cases with similar stories. One of them was in 2014 when a Houstonian was arrested in Georgia. A judge later dismissed that case, finding that Hertz falsely reported the incident after misplacing the vehicle. In 2019, in Harris County, another judge dismissed a case, finding that Hertz filed the report after the vehicle had already been returned.
And they're filing false police reports.
You have a warrant for your arrest right now?
Yes, sir.
Are you worried about that?
Yes, sir. Every day.
Now, what did you just say?
Behind the wheel of this Hertz rental sedan on 288 is a guy by the name of Xander's Pace. Clipping the car in front of him, Pace may have compounded his problems by taking the damaged rental car to a repair shop.
My insurance contacted Hertz. Everyone knew I was in an accident.
3 days later?
It was more like 2 to 3 days later.
Hertz knew the car was in the shop. In fact, Hertz's own underwriters prodded Hertz's local office to pick up that rental car. But instead of doing that, Hertz first processed Xander's payment and 28 days later filed a police report.
I'm not sure what their internal policies are of when they actually make the call to police, but as soon as they make the call to police, then we initiate the police report.
You all right?
Within weeks, Xander's Pace, a father of 4, had an auto theft arrest warrant with his name on it. And 2 years later, it's still hanging over his head.
I haven't even stolen a piece of bubble gum in my lifetime. And that's something that degrades you when someone says you're a thief.
It's just not right. And the fact that Hertz has not owned up to and made this right is disappointing.
After our conversation with Mr. Pace, the man with the active warrant, we got in touch with the Harris County DA's office. They've now dismissed the theft charge against him. If this has happened to you, send us a tip. And to read more about these cases, you can do both at click2houston.com. Joel Eisenbaum, KPRC 2 News.
Are finding themselves on the other side of the law for doing nothing more than driving a rental car.
I-Team investigator Katie Legrone details the incidents and the Florida-based rental car company now on the defense.
Reliving it is unbearable.
These consumers,
they have me at gunpoint,
sharing the tales of renting a car.
Border Patrol agents, fully vested, fully armed.
Then being accused of stealing it by the Florida-based rental giant, Hertz.
I was in jail for about 15 to 16 hours.
7 hours I was detained there in that locked area.
Last year, this Ohio grandmother was detained at the Canadian border.
I'm terrified.
After she was accused of stealing a car she rented from a Hertz agent in Ohio. Turns out the car belonged to another rental company that reported it stolen a few days earlier.
They gave me a stolen car.
She hired an attorney. So has Magali Sterling, who says her 2017 rental from a Hertz in South Florida left this mother of one facing the barrel of multiple guns.
And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, this car was reported stolen. And I'm like, what? I said, that's impossible because I rented this car.
Sterling ended up in jail. In her police report, she stated she did not return the vehicle despite the employee asking her. But Sterling tells us that's because Hertz agreed instead of returning the car Thursday, she could do it Monday.
After I got out of jail, I was told that there was a glitch in the system.
And now we're talking about 10, 20, 30 cases all over the country.
Her attorney, Francis Alexander, says Hertz's glitch has created a company pattern of wrongly reporting cars stolen, and customers, he says, pay the price.
The problem is that Hertz has broken computer systems, and they have broken policies, or rather than follow their standard operating procedures, and as a result, good people, good ordinary citizens are being thrown in jail.
But Hertz, which processes tens of millions of rentals each year, is driving home another point. False reports of stolen vehicles are extremely rare, a company spokesperson told us in this statement. When it has occurred, it has been the result of unique and extenuating circumstances. In the rare instance an error within our control has occurred, we take responsibility.
What can you do?
The bizarre incidents have consumer protection experts who love to give advice at a standstill.
You would find yourself in a difficult position. It sounds like the plot of a movie.
If that's the case, the end of Magali Sterling's movie is still in the works.
I've been fighting this case for about 2 years.
She pled not guilty to a third-degree felony for failing to return a rental car. In response, Hertz says filing a police report is a last resort and maintains it followed its overdue rental process.
Did you fail to return the car?
No, ma'am. I paid for the car and you guys reported it stolen while I'm driving it.
7 longest hours of my life.
Dina Johnson's movie is also still playing out in lawyer talks. 1 year after Hertz put this grandma behind the wheel of someone else's stolen car.
The humiliation, I'm just in shock.
I'm I-Team investigator Katie Legrone, taking action for